Now you can hear me better. Hello, everybody. How are you doing this morning? I just felt like coding something today. Something that's been on my mind a little bit. One feature I have on my site, my purely functional.tv site, is geolocation. So when someone comes to the site, it figures out what country they're in, and then it does a little bit of a database lookup and figures out if there's a coupon code for them. And if there is, it offers them a coupon code. And those coupon codes are just static data in the database that are based on, they're trying to give discounts to people in countries with lower income so that my courses are affordable. And I thought, there's no reason really that has to be on the site. It's just presenting some text, coupon code, and I could make that into like a service that lives elsewhere. Could be a product. I'm not sure. A lot of people seem to want it, and a lot of people like that I have it. So there's possibly something there, but I just want to make a very simple solution to get started with. And let's get started. All right. So really, I don't do much prep for these. This is really live. So you'll see me having to do some Googling and stuff like that, which I think is part of the appeal of the live coding streams. So this is my site. I also I did do a tiny little bit of prep. I made a JavaScript file and copied from hello.js. And this gives you a little endpoint that does the date. It just execs date and then puts it in a JSON. So I can actually ping that. That might be useful to do. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Not what I want. You're getting a preview of something I haven't finished yet. Let's do this. CD. I'm just going to make a new one here. All right. So with this one, I should be able to curl it. Curl localhost :3000 / what's it called? GeoBanner. Whoa. Bunch of stuff there. Oh, it's API, sorry. API / GeoBanner. There we go. Get some JSON back. And that's just to make sure that everything's hooked up before I start coding and get lost. So I'm going to need to convert the IP address that I've got for them from the request into a country somehow. And there's a database out there that I've used before, and it's freely available, and there's some libraries for reading it. So I got to figure out how to hook all that up together into this JavaScript project. But for right now, I just want to see, can I even get the request in some interesting, like, can I get the IP address from the request? I don't know. I've never done this before. I've never worked this closely. So this is my idea. Oh man, something's slowing down my system now. JSON. It's probably all this video I'm doing. So how about I just send the request back? That should work, and then I'll be able to see what's in there. So let me curl it. Internal server error. Well, that's no fun. Okay, well, maybe I can just see what keys are in there. Okay, so we got readable state, events, event. Okay, I don't want anything with those underscores, I don't think. socket, HTTP version major, merge minor, HTTP version complete, headers, raw trailers, aborted, upgrade URL, method, status code, status message, client, consuming, dumped, cookies, next, init, query, preview data, preview, body. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a quick Google search. How to get IP address next of client. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, it's in the request headers. Headers X real IP. Let's see if we can get that. Boom, 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 boom. Let's put it here. IP rec dot headers. Right? It's in the headers. I did see that, right? Raw headers. Okay, there we go. Headers X real IP. Sometimes when I'm coding this and I'm, taking little steps, that's nothing. What happened? Didn't even put IP null in there. Just want to make sure that it's working. Okay, so it's not in there. I'm just going to put the headers. See, I took a big step there. I think it was worth the risk, but you take these big steps and that's what you get. All right, so these are all the headers. We have host, user agent, and accept. Okay, so it's not in there. All right, so someone is just saying this might not work in Next.js. Customize the code. Okay, come on. Detect the IP. To detect the IP information of the incoming request coming to your server, we'll be using the request IP plugin, which gets IP information from the request. The request IP plugin searches for the below headers in the incoming request. Oh my goodness. Wait. Well, is that even in here? We have connection. We have a socket. Socket is there. Okay, let's try this one. I don't want a dependency for this. I mean, it might be useful maybe, because I don't know, like, this is going to be running on a server, and it might have, for instance, Nginx running in front of it, right? And if that's the case, then it could actually be like useful to use something like this. Okay, I'll just bite the bullet and install this thing. I thought I could do it without so many dependencies, but that's okay. Request IP, save. Request IP dot get client IP. How does it get? Oh, he does a require at the top. Okay, so let's go back to the top. I'm gonna do an import. Import request IP from request IP. There we go. And now what do? Request IP dot get client IP. That's not bad. Request IP dot get client IP on the request. Okay. One step at a time. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm taking very small steps here. 1. Well, that's not exactly... I mean, is that an IPv6 address? I know I'm not running this on a different server, so it's my local host. And that might be what we're seeing. Okay, that's fine. I thought if we had an IPv4, that's what I was expecting. Maybe IPv6 is fine right now. But you know what I want to do? I'm going to push this and see if I can do it in the server. It'll take a minute. All right. Add geo banner endpoint. Okay. Then I can hit my own server that this is running on. It's all running on Vercel, so it'll be up in a minute. Meanwhile, I'm gonna do some Google searching and see how to get this database, geolocation database. I know I have the name, Geolite 2, that's what it is. Boom. I don't want anything, here's another thing. I don't want anything auto updates. You know, this data changes frequently as IPs, segments are issued out to different countries. And I don't want that happening on my server while it's running. I want, maybe it happens on a build step or something. Anyway, access. I need to sign up for an account. Oh my goodness. This cast. See my industry. Content delivery, education. I never know what to put. I often put programming, information technology. That's pretty good. Country, intended use. Oh, price localization. Haha, it's common. All right. Optional phone. Okay, I'll get an email. All right. This is live, folks. This is what we're talking about. Now I can log in. I didn't set a username, but I did give them my email. So I wonder if that will work. Oops. Hey, wait, don't look at that. Yay. All right, do not sell my personal information request page for IP addresses. Oh, no. Download files. All right, now I know that there is, on NPM, there is a, oh wow, nice design, folks, at NPM. So Geo IP2, fast native implementation. This module includes the database? Well, So I'm not really sure which one to choose. I saw a couple here. This one seems to have 1,800 weekly downloads. This one is called MaxMind with 69,000. Oh, this one says it's 17,000% faster than other libraries. Okay, I know this is really boring, but it works with a binary MaxMind database format and doesn't require any CSV conversion. Okay, I'm just going to install this one. I think this one's pretty good. It's got some nice code there. Let's try it. I think I should do a save on it, huh? I'm not an expert on NPM. I just realized I don't know what I'm doing with that, really. All right, now let's look at their sample code. Oh, and I'm going to download this binary thing. Is that... This is the binary. Okay. But I don't know what the city is. Oh, country. That's really what I want. Is country. Okay, well, that's pretty small. I don't know if it needs to be a 17,000% faster, but that's fine. Let me unzip this. Is it just one file? Oh my goodness, you're looking at all my files in here. I'm gonna put it in, wasn't there a resources directory? I'm gonna put it right in the resources directory. Whoa. How big is it? 4 megabytes. Okay, that's not bad. It'll get pushed up. Oh, meanwhile, wait a second. Meanwhile, let me curl my thing. Sorry to jump around like that, but I want to do this. Yay! I got an IP address. Don't DOS my, now that you know my IP. Thank you. Okay, we have an IP address. So that's working on the server. Now I can hopefully convert that using this thing. Okay, that's there. Let me get over here. So we need MaxMind. We open, then we do a lookup. We get, here's the IP address, and then we look up with prefix length. Okay, well, I'm just going to try it. Boom, doesn't have to be perfect. I know there's a lot of choices to make, but I'm not ready to make choices right now. So let's see, maxmind.open // resources. That might be too many dots, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to open that, and then, you know, this is const lookup. This is what's it called? I can make this async. I think Next works that way. And then we're gonna do a lookup.get. So we're gonna have const IP equals this. And then const geo equals lookup.get IP. And now I'm gonna do that here. Just put a geo in here. Okay, I'm gonna have to do it on the server, but for right now I'm gonna try it here. Internal server error. Well, that's no fun. Probably couldn't open this. I think it's got too many dots. Boom. Maybe still too many. There we go. All right, so it's null. That makes sense because we don't have a real IP, remember? So, but at least it didn't crash. That means it probably opened the file just fine. So I'm going to now push this. And we got to make sure we have everything. I don't need that team thing. Let me just put the team thing in here. Team docs. Okay, now I can push everything. This is at mine geolocation database. Boom. All right, so that's got to push 4 megabytes. Might take a second. So I can kind of talk about the plan. The plan is once I have the when this, so all right, there's like very short term, and then there's like kind of longish term, and then there's really long term. Okay, so the shortest term is I want to make a single request to the server and have it display that banner. So the banner is going to get displayed with JavaScript, but I don't want to have to download the JavaScript that then makes a request to the server that gets the data back and then displays the banner. I want a single request to the server, and the JavaScript that comes back is going to have everything it needs. Okay, so that one JavaScript request is going to do it. Medium term is that I would like it not to do a request on, not to have to download that JavaScript on every request. Somehow have it so that the JavaScript snippet can determine, say, using local storage, that we already have the location data, and then just use that and not have to even go to the server that on every request. So maybe that's kind of taking over the caching that the browser does. So the thing is, we're gonna have to, well, there might be I'm just predicting there might be an issue. I'm anticipating this issue, that this is a JavaScript file that we're going to be downloading that's going to contain both the script for displaying the banner and also all the geolocation data in it. I'm anticipating that this will be cached somewhere because it's JavaScript, and a lot of intermediary proxies assume that JavaScript is like a static asset. So we might have to bust the cache. If it's cached, then it's not going to do the request on every page load anyway. It's going to be cached. So maybe this is all for naught. But I'm just anticipating that we'll have to bust the cache, but then we'll have to recreate a new cache. And that's like a little bit smarter, domain aware. And because, people do move, they do change country, get it eventually. But you can kind of assume like people aren't changing countries every hour, and so maybe you make the request once per hour per browser. So you cache it for an hour. And because I'm using Vercel and stuff, I don't really have the precise control over the cache that I would want to make that happen. Okay, so this longish term plan, just make sure that it's not making that request on every, and I'll just play around in the browser and see if it's doing that. Then longer term is to be able to have a GUI on top of a database, and that database stores all the different coupon codes for the different countries instead of just having it in a JSON, which is what I'm going to do to begin with. You know, one of the advantages of writing your own system and having the control that a programmer has is that you can actually just not use databases. Like you can just store stuff in a file and read that file when you need it, and not have to have a database. And then, because then once you have a database, now you need a GUI, and now you need an API endpoint to modify the database. And if you're just going to hard code some coupon values in there, you don't need as much infrastructure. And I've noticed that a whole bunch, where like I'll use a WordPress plugin, and I'm like, it's just doing one little thing. Why does it need so much code? And I go into the code and I see, okay, it's got a class for accessing the database and a class for the API endpoints it sets up, and then another class for setting up a options panel, and then it's got JavaScript for, you know, doing some dynamic stuff on the options panel. And so I'm like, oh, this is way more than I need. And I write it myself, and it's like 20 lines of PHP because I just hard code the one thing I needed to do. I don't need all these options. It's a little nuts, the difference. Okay, I think that should have given Vercel enough time. I'm going to hit it. I'm going to hit this endpoint. Server error. Okay, that means I got to go into Vercel and see what's going on. I'm not logged in. Why am I not logged in? Okay, hang on. I'm going to log in off camera. All right. They had to send me an email. Okay, so it just deployed. There's no problem. So I'm going to look at the logs. How do I see the logs? Deployments. Does it have logs? Build logs. Where are... built just fine. How do I see the logs to see what the problem is? Oh, real-time logs. There we go. Awaiting a new request. Well, let's hit it. Boom. There we go. File or directory, open resources. Uh-oh. No such file or directory. Could put it in data. Is it possible that that stuff doesn't get deployed to Vercel? I mean, it certainly worked here on my local machine. Does anybody know out there watching? Oh wow. Foreign, I just noticed your message. Um, is Elm worth learning? Yeah, sure. Yeah, Elm is a fine language, cool system. I have learned a tiny bit of Elm. I really wanted to understand how it worked, so I went into um, the thesis by the creator of Elm, where he talks about the underlying FRP model, the functional reactive programming model, which is different from learning the language because the language is on top of that model. And it's actually evolved quite a bit since then. So, um, yes, it is worth learning. I think it's also a really great way to get into types. If you're into static types, Elm has the most accessible version of static types I've seen out there. Okay, back to coding. Why does this not work? So I would have to read into the Vercel docs to see if there's anything that I'm missing, like that these files are not available. Because see, I'm doing a thing in my podcast here, but this is at build time, this get static paths. And this get static props. See, I'm reading in this podcast.json 5 file. So I'm reading that in statically. I need to find a way to do this. Let's see. I'm just going to do a quick Googling. Next. Let's see. Vercel read in file. How can I use files in files at runtime? Yes. Given the serverless. To import files at runtime in a Node.js serverless function, create a vercel.json file and include the following configuration. You can edit the serverless function to import files like so. Okay. Don't mind figuring that out. Let's try it. So I need a vercel.json. That's a new file. Just add it here. Vercel.json. And I'll copy this and edit it. So the API is geobanner.js. I mean, sorry if this is boring, but this is what I signed up for, and I hope if you don't want to watch it, just drop off. Okay, and then in the serverless function, you can use the file like so. Read file sync. We need the dir name. Files. Right, so I don't want to include the underscore files. I want to include resources / geolite to country.md. That should work. And then I need to do this. Okay. Path. I don't have that. I'm assuming that MaxMind is doing the open itself. So join resources, and then this is the file name here. Well, does that work on my local machine? No. What is dir name? Can I print that out? Console.log. Is that a node thing? It's not printing out. Wait a second. Oh wait, it would print out over here. Maybe it is printing out. Slash is the dir name. Well, that shouldn't be. That's not right. I'm just gonna push it and see if this works on the server. Vercel.json, geobanner. Try vercel.json. Also, the other thing is that Vercel, this is a big file. This is 4 megabytes of country data. And sorry if my bitrate is slow. I'm sorry. I upgraded my internet. You should blame them. But this is 4 megabytes. And to stream that into Lambda, that's kind of big. And that's what Vercel is running on. It's like making a serverless function with this thing. So we'll see. We'll see. And, you know, yet another reason why I don't want to do multiple requests. Just do it all in one. How's the build here? I don't want so many windows. This is the one I just did, but it hasn't deployed. "41 days ago. Deployments. 17 minutes. Okay. I don't know why. Did I not push it? That would be silly. Git push. Okay, we should see it here. It took 1 minute before. There we go. Error. Doesn't match any serverless functions. It doesn't? Geobanner.js. Well, I just copy pasted that the way API. Wait a second. Does anyone see the problem? I'm going to read it again. The pattern API/geobanner.js doesn't match any serverless functions. Okay, learn more. I didn't want to do that. Sorry, my system is acting a little slow. This pattern must match serverless function source files within the API. Using Next.js, serverless function source file can be created in the file. Okay, so is it in pages/API? Let's try that. Oh, I gotta add that. I don't know if this is super boring, but I'm making progress, I feel. So try pages/API. I actually, last time I streamed, I was making a little image editor, and immediately after I stopped streaming, I decided to change it, and I didn't record what I did, and I kind of regret that. I feel like it would have been good to do it live, even though a lot of it was boring stuff. I'm not at the point with this stack where I can just code it up and expect it to work pretty well the first time. I'm doing a lot of exploration. There's other stuff I did live that, I didn't do live that I should have. I'll show you this cool thing I did. This is an endpoint where you can give it a URL and it runs Chrome, headless Chrome, using Puppeteer, and it makes a request to that URL, and then it will tell you all the cookies that it's set. So if you want to know like what cookies does CNN, I don't think I recorded this. Okay, wait, let's go back here. I'm gonna go to deployments. Ah, that one worked. Okay, that one worked. I'll show you the cookies thing in a second. Of course, failure. Build logs, functions. There we go. No such file or directory. But I put it in there in the Vercel. Said it would put it in. Let's try it again. Same problem. I think that slash is the console log of the dir name. I think that if I got rid of the dir name, it might work. Just a guess. Just a guess. I'm not sure. I'm going to read their docs again. You know, docs aren't always correct. Include files. And they use a blob, but I'm not using a blob. I'm using the actual file name. Okay. I feel like it must be a relative thing, and if dir name is slash, it's looking on slash. That doesn't sound right to me. Like, who puts anything on slash, right? Even if it's a serverless, function, it's still got a little directory structure, right? Okay, building. All right, while this is building, I'm going to show you my cookies endpoint. I can do it locally. And go to cookies. All right, UI isn't great, I admit, but if you go to cnn.com, well, oh, there we go. Just took a little bit of time. All right, look at all the cookies that get set when you go to CNN.com. And then this is the JSON of all the cookies, so you can see the actual stuff. But this table is more convenient. So you have the domain, the name, and the value. Look at all that stuff, right? So this, with the increase in the amount of privacy that people are expecting, I thought I want to be able to know, is my site accidentally setting a bunch of cookies because, maybe I include some third-party JavaScript or something, and I want to know. And so I want to point this at my own sites to see. So let's see if I go to paradigm.institute. I mean, that's my kind of play site right now. Nothing. No cookies are set. So I'm very happy with that. My other domains, they are, because I'm not done yet. But this is in Chrome, right? This is not, so it's running all the JavaScript and everything, which is why it takes so long at CNN. It's got to load the whole page. It's waiting for the network traffic to be done. All right, let's check our dashboard. Okay. It worked. Can I do a geo banner? No, I cannot. Functions. Can't open that file. I feel like this is going to be a lot of back and forth, like deploying and adding in like relative like slashes and just figuring out exactly how to get this file. I'm not sure if the file is even really working with this Vercel.json. We'll have to see. It seems to like this now, so we made a little bit of improvement. But it's coming up on it's 51 minutes now, and it's just going to be a bunch of fiddling. So I'm going to call it quits here. I'm going to do that like fiddling of dots and stuff. And I promise if I do anything past that, I'm going to start recording again, because that helps. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.